Evening, everyone. Maazi Ezeoke speaking to us this evening. I hope we are all doing well. I just want to have a quick one with us this evening. And as usual, if you're joining me this evening, I want to know where you are joining me from. I know many of you are joining me from the diaspora community, and many of you are joining me from within the mother continent. Obviously, many of you are with me here. Okay, so just say your name. I will give you a shout out, your name, and where you are joining me from. This evening, we are going to look at a couple of issues. I'm going to show us and expose the government and how they lie to you and I. I'm going to be exposing the government and how they lie to you and I. I will show us a report by the Arise TV how Buhari went and what they want you and I to believe that everyone was happy that Buhari was in Kaduna yesterday. But you know one thing, if you they work out like this, if you they go like this, there are people also going like this, watching you. I will show us something that you never believed happened in Nigeria yesterday. Before we do that, if you are joining me for the first time, if you're seeing my face for the first time, kindly do me a favor, click the like button. This is a hangout with Maazi Ezeoke. If you want, we can make this a very conversational evening where you can also join me here if you want. We can have a conversation. And this evening, some of you have already, and I can see many of you from the YouTube. Papobi Nonye Dot, I can see you there. Good evening. This is one of my fans and also a good person that I know. But you know one thing that none of you are doing this year, I don't know if any of you is happiness more. None of you has paid. It's end of the month next week. So none of you have paid tithe. None of you have said Mass a good happy new year. Many of you didn't say Mass a happy Christmas. And I was just the watching like this, like this. I don't know what is happening. But now we are in another year. Or rather, we are at the beginning of the year. What do you want me to do? I thought what we are saying this year is if you break and pay. If you break anything, you pay it. But why?
And I've warned in the first service for those of you that like to fall under anointing and break things. If you fall under anointing again in this church and break anything, you pay from today.
But again, don't if you break Maazi will pay. But if you break Maazi, you pay. So, like I said, I want to know where you're watching me from. Onyenimo, wow, Onyenimo, wow, what a long time. Where have you been? Where have you been hiding in the in the United Kingdom? And I have Dr. Nna. I believe that is Dr. Iman. If that is this, if that is him, and he's a very good man as well. One of the best labs for your COVID test you can do in Enugu for only 25,000 naira. That's what they charge. I've used it. Speedy. They say 24 hours. No, theirs doesn't even take 12 hours. You get an email, you get a WhatsApp message, you get to the airport, it has a QR code. If you check at the bottom of, if you check at the bottom here, for those of you who are planning to make international journey, any airport in Nigeria, you can utilize them. It's called Safety Molecular Pathology Lab. One of the best, if not the best, but I can tell you the cheapest and the most efficient in Nigeria. Now, some of you and many of you, oh, Papa Obin Nonyedot, wow, God bless you. This is the new year we are talking. This is the spirit. This is the spirit of the new year. Because if I see the way the president, he don't go for Kaduna, but something is happening, you will say, don't worry, when we get there, you cross the bridge. So, Papa Obin Nonyedot, thank you very much. Oh, Kenny is watching me from the Canada. I know one of these. He is in Nova Scotia, one of the coldest city close to Russia. There is a reason why many of us who are in this part of the world are here. Eh? We are trying to survive Hamatan, not to go inside the freezer. But I also recognize many of you who are working hard within the diaspora community, making us proud, wherever you are. Everyone, you know, thank you all and Disenika. Okay, Dr. Nna says, I'm Dr. Israel Nna, molecular biology as well. Wow, molecular biologist. It appears all the people I know, all the doctors I know are molecular biologists. Make una begin to look for and get the medicine for anyway, Zacorona is finished because Zacorona, we have eaten Zacorona. There is nothing like Zacorona anymore. So, Emirates, okay, so people, let us calm down and come to the meat of the matter this evening. Once more, Papa Bin Nanyadot, being the first person to say Happy New Year to us in the language we understand, because it's not only saying Happy New Year, but Papa Bin Nanyadot, he said Happy New Year in the language we understand with a £4.99. That is what Kai. This is £4.49. I was thinking it's £4.99. No, this was Oyibo people. One thing I never understand why Oyibo people do that is if you go to the shop, rather than tell me that this is $10, they tell me $9.99. I said that 1 cent, I'll be 1 pfennig or one whatever. Who do you want to pay it? Me or you? See, these people they do mago mago. So Papa bin Nonyedot, you don't instead make you go £45. You go £44, £4.49. But all the same, I like you. So now let's start with Maazi Nnamdi Kanu. Should we start with that one, or should we start with Buhari? Which one should we start with? Now, tell me, Maazi Nnamdi Kanu, or should we start with Buhari? Who should we start with? You tell me. It's your show. Tell me. Tell me. Going one, going two. Make your comment. Tell me where do we start from? Okay, you know what? Since no one is talking, I make the decision. Let's start with Buhari. Let's start with Buhari. But before we start with Buhari, we'll go to the president to say, Mr. President, you are welcome back to Nigeria. So, there is one good thing Buhari is very good at. Buhari is very good at, if you ask him question A, he will leave answer sheet B, C, and D, and he will go to the answer number Z and answer whatever he likes, whether you like it or not.
Are we likely to use a different approach in the fight against insecurity, especially kidnapping, which is a big issue now, sir?
No, I have just seen the IG. I think he is still losing weight, so I think he is working very hard.
Can you tell me, am I losing weight? Because if I'm losing weight, it means in the words of Buhari, because I am doing very well. That's what it is. I'm doing very well. But let's get down to business. Yesterday, Buhari went to Kaduna, and the following happened.
Initiated by the governor of the state, Nasser El-Rufai. On Thursday, while speaking after the inauguration ceremony of the remodeled Kawu overhead bridge along Zaria Road, the president narrated how he narrowly escaped being killed in the area in 2014 and was saved by his security. The bombing incident, which left over 80 people dead, was described by Buhari as an assassination attack. At the time of the incident, Buhari was the leading opposition figure in the country. In the meantime, a video showing a mammoth crowd that welcomed the president when he arrived in Kaduna for his 2-day visit to commission the projects in the state has made the rounds. Let's take a look.
Okay, before you take a look, one thing is, because there is one thing that the president does. It's either he laughs It's either he laughs or he can
I
assure
you that our government.
But I assure you. I assure you. I want to assure you. I assure you.
Apart from assuring you, you know, I have a brother. He can also assure you. And
I am not a man. I don't smoke. I don't drink. Everything that you saw me behave and my radicalness is a possession of the Holy Ghost. I'm a warlord.
so, are you are you a possession of the Holy Ghost too, or are you a warlord? Because my radicalness is coming out, and I'm a warlord. So I can assure you. I can assure you. So, but let's go back to before I assure you more. Let's go back.
All I can say is, the president has that massive following, that massive cult following. I think we were just discussing that. It's impossible.
Tundu. They are doing karo with you guys' brain. So this is what they've shown everybody. This is what the world has seen. But they didn't show you the other one that you can only see on Injinja Media. But let me allow you people to say whatever you want to say, then I will spoil your show.
Renting crowd like this. I mean, look at that. It's amazing to see that, the president is still loved the way that he's, been appreciated in that particular state.
Well, I hope you know he's the 12 million votes man. He's good for 12 million votes any day.
I like that.
Yes, and people should, I think, be a little restrained in trying to impose their political views on other people. President Buhari does have his own following who completely adore him, as we can see. Mm-hmm. This is not a rent-a-crowd, and it's not fake affection being shown, it's genuine.
Yes.
And I guess they're showing that love for him as a politician, a public figure, and a former resident of Kaduna State. So they're going to recognize that. And it must be heartening for him to see that in spite of all the challenges, in spite of all the criticisms, which I must stress, are often valid criticisms, because nobody is really above criticism. But being criticized does not mean you're hated, does not mean you're loathed. No, we just want the best results from our leaders, and that's really what it's about. And the earlier part of what you said, his miraculous escape from death, for which I'm sure he's forever thankful. What would have been the perfect end to that anecdote, that recollection that he shared, would have been that, and today insecurity is a thing of the past in Nigeria. Such a thing no longer happens. But unfortunately, he wasn't able to add that at the end, because many people are not as lucky as he was, and they have lost their lives.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, he did talk about the incident, but even during the whole ceremony, there was still an altercation that ensued between his security guards as well during that whole visit that occurred yesterday. So I don't know. It still goes to show the massive insecurity in that state, and the fact that the president has to, address it, because it did happen to him immediately as well.
Yeah, quite different from what Tunu said earlier. Insecurity remains a big problem in Nigeria, and I do not think it's going to disappear after the Buhari administration. It will be one of those things that the also have to deal with. Yes, if it was attacked on this.
Before I continue, this is what they've shown us. This is what you've seen, what they've shown. Arise TV, everybody bought into it. But why is it that nobody also showed this to Nigerians? Why? I am asking. Why is it that nobody also showed what I am showing on my screen now to Nigerians? Why? What? So clearly, this did not happen in Bayelsa. This did not happen in Lagos. Neither did this happen in Anambra State. So you could not say that, oh, because they hated the man, that's why they are protesting. At least these are people who can understand his language. These are people that he could speak in a language that they understand. These are people that he he knows very well. These are people that we can say that know him very well. And these are people that, at the end of the day, obviously, it's visible to the blind and audible to the deaf. Now the question is, why is no one showing the part of that video that I showed? Why is no one within no station within the mainstream is showing that? Why? Is that then a hatred when you show this? One thing we have done here at Njinji Media is now I want us to pay attention here. One thing we have done here at Njinji Media is to give you the both sides. On the right is what is happening, or rather what happened in Kaduna. On the left is what the media is showing. So, for anyone who will say this is hatred, I bloody don't care what you think or what you're saying about that. All we do here is that we must present things undiluted the way they are. That's why most times you may not like the way and how we say things. And I'm saying I can't help you. But I wasn't the one who was throwing stones. The stones weren't thrown by the dotted people. These were the same people, the same 12 million that they spoke about before, are the same part of that 12 million are the ones still throwing the stone. The stone was not being thrown by the dotted ones. No, the stone in question was thrown by those
So Kaduna
who
in
probably
2014. Insecurity still remains a problem.
Right.
In Kaduna State. Isn't that the same state where we have had many cases of kidnappings, even attacks on military and police formations to the consternation of Nigerians? And what that means clearly. Yes, he may have survived in 2014, but the problem remains.
Yes.
And one of the major expectations of Nigerians is that he, as a retired general, will be able to make a significant difference. Now you can measure it depending on where you stand, in the equation as to whether he has been able to make a difference in that regard or not. However, he says he doesn't have a very high, expectations. That's one. The second thing, of course, is that he has very high praise for the governor of Kaduna State, who did when he was observing the story and writing it. The last paragraph says that, in fact, there was no...
Let me get to...
But what I want to be particular about is the incident of 2014. Let's not forget that other people died. Yeah.
Yes.
So thank God for lives preserved. But 82 people died cumulatively, and those were 2 bomb attacks.
Yeah.
2014, peak of electionary. It was. In fact, we had around got into the season then because it was in February in 2015 we had the elections. And it just shows that this has been on for a while, insecurity in this country. Sure. And I think that what we should do is to find a way of settling it once and for all, because the challenges have changed. And I'll go back to the 80s. After the so-called very famous Metisani riots, there was a committee set up to look into it. And they saw that unemployment among young people, poverty, squalor was causing the problem. And must I add that, you see, we talk a lot about how the military quashed Metisani. Yes. But the threat then is not as grave as what we have now.
Exactly. I agree.
The Metisani guys, I'm not sure I heard anywhere they carried AK-47. They were carrying clubs, daggers, swords. That's all they carried. So it was obviously the bullet against the clubs and the daggers and the swords. But the challenge we have now, it's become a country of people carrying AK-47. Almost every Tom, Dick, and Harry has an AK-47. Yeah. And that's why, part of this, we should work more on our intelligence system. Because as of that 2014, when the president was attacked, some people argue that at least they could still go from Kaduna to Abuja. But today, you can hardly ply that road because of the level of insecurity.
True.
So in looking for problems to this problem, in looking for solutions to this problem we have, how about we think about a holistic way? Could it be military intelligence? Could it be more to be done? Could it be anything? But anything that will just solve the problem. And also start to tackle the problem we have on ground. I keep speaking about the Amajiri problem. Because you see, the boys in the 80s, and were never even born when we had that crisis. The boys that lived in poverty were left behind in the 90s are the ones, the Bello Tujis of this world now, that are 26 and less than 30. I have Bello Tujis less than 30. And they're the ones causing all this mayhem. Less than 30-year-olds. The question is, the Bello Tujis of the future are being born now because the poverty and the squalor and the neglect is still on with systems like the Amajiris. We should introspect. Each in time, they say sage night.
It does. Well, all right. We'll take another story.
So now it's not even that, the thing now is not even that these Amajiris is there. That the challenge we have is that the government, in no shape nor form, does it appear that the government, with exception, actually, it appears that our brothers from the north, and when I say the north, I mean the northwest. Because that's where you have, predominantly the issue of Amajirism. You see less of Amajirism in the northeast, if you talk about Taraba, Gongola, or rather Old Gongola, or you talk about the north central, where you talk about Benue, Plateau, you see less, or if at all, non-existence of Amajirism. But if you talk about Sokoto, Kaduna, Sokoto, Kaduna, Katsina, Kano, this is northwest. That is the world capital of Amajirism. What is Amajirism? When men want to sleep with young girls without any plans of doing, without plans of what they will do with children that will come after their rigmaroling. No plans at all, no plans whatsoever. Rather, when a child is about 5, without no fatherly and motherly love, you hand over that child to some quasi-insane institution to brainwash. And you know what they do to some of these children in these areas and cannot be spoken, cannot be altered. Some of these children are abused sexually. If they say things that they do to them in the name of religion. And when a child has no skills, has no future, what do you expect? You expect him to turn around and become the best of the society? No, it's going to turn around and be a tormentor to you and I, to everybody that crosses their way, because why? They are not happy with the society. But hey, what do we know? Because those in government.
But this video of an officer of the Nigerian police force.
Now, let's move on with Buhari. With Buhari, one thing is he has 1 year more to go, and in that 1 year, he is doing what? He's assuring us.
I assure you that our government.
But I assure you. I want to assure you. I assure you.
So you can see that he has assured us 5 times. So 5 times, I'm not saying waka, but I'm saying he has assured us 5 times. Dayabi uku. So 3. Eh? So if he assures us, let us take his assurance. Someone here, Okoli, said that he's very Ladika. If you're very Ladika, I'm also Ladika. So that you know. Eh? If the president assures us, well, who am I to say that he does not assure us? But again, one thing we have to know is that we are in a country where lawlessness is the order of the day. In the next story, according to our rights team, you will see where a police officer cocked a gun, threatening a female passenger, even when the colleagues were saying, "Oh, guy, don't do." The man was doing and acting as if he's high on something.
Gone while assaulting a woman in Edo State. In the video, the officer violently slapped the woman and opened fire, while other officers at the scene tried to calm the situation. Let's take a look.
Officer, don't try that. Officer, don't try that. Don't try that.
You see, he shot. He had that sound. He shot just for having an argument with a human being. That is it. You see, when we say these things, there is one thing Nigerians are not good at: conversation. We're not good at having conversation. It's either insult. Even in this program this evening, we will get to a point, certain positions will be taken this evening. Rather than some of us to engage constructively, you will see some of us in the comment section revert, default to insult. That's the only thing they can do. Exactly is the same thing. Imagine an officer of the law trained arguing with a woman that was not armed, irrespective of what the woman might have done or said. And your colleague are saying, it's enough is enough. You cocked your gun, you shot on the floor, not only once, not twice, but 3 times.
Officer, you look at me.
Again, one of the demands of the NSAS protesters was a psychological evaluation of these police officers. I guess this man was attached to the disbanded SARS unit at one point. I believe he's been identified, and hopefully an investigation will ensue. But this is so horrific. This man, I don't know if it's psychological evaluation he needs, but he appeared completely drunk. He shot at that woman twice. Tundu Abiola.
I'm completely gobsmacked by this. And I also thought about the NSAS protest when I saw this, and thought about how much was made at the time of the government's quick response to the demands of the protesters and the quick disbandment of SARS and replacing it with SWAT. And people were saying, well, why were the protesters not satisfied that the government has heard you? Go back home. This shows how cosmetic that change of name really was. Absolutely. Because the culture remains. And if not for that protest, if not that protest, it might seem to some like it made no difference and that the people died for nothing. They did not. Because really they have raised the level of professionalism with the security agencies. If not for that woman might have been killed.
Yes.
The man was threatening her life, but he stopped short of actually taking it.
Yes.
He could have actually killed that woman in the rage that he was in. Nobody there could control him. He didn't see that he was threatening a human being like himself. He was completely out of his senses. And I'm so glad whoever had the presence of mind to record this encounter should be commended so that he can be disciplined appropriately. He must be. He must be, and I'm sure that he will, because we will never go back to how we were before. The EndSARS protest really did move the needle in this country. Yes. The atrocities continue, but now there's a greater sensitivity, there's a greater awareness, and you have to take action. It's very important. It was just Armed Forces Remembrance Day recently, and I like a few poems that I like to read around that time. And one of them is Tommy by Rudyard Kipling. And one of the lines there that always strikes me is how we make mockery of the uniforms that guard us while we sleep. We want to be grateful to our security agencies, but you see, this man is the one making a mockery of the uniform that he is wearing. He's a complete disgrace to the police force. And
that is
wielding a dangerous weapon and wearing uniform bought for him by the Nigerian people to protect them. Yes. And he's using the uniform to engage in.
That's why Fela says uniform na cloth na tailor de sew. Uniform, it's the same. You know, the tragedy of what you just watched is this is a man paid with your tax, the money you pay in tax. He's paid to protect you, but rather than protect you, he has become a danger to you. He has become a danger to you. That's all.
We don't raise people well any longer in this country, Archie. Let's not deceive ourselves. Our family values are gone. It's eroded. You see, because most of your brain is formed before you are 10. And you see, your 10-year-old self never dies. Most of the things you do, even up to your 70, 80, are the formations that happen in your brain before you were 10. So if you had a lot of trauma, the way you were being raised, it's obvious. Psychological examination can just show you what it is. Coaching can help you correct those things. But in the long run, it goes back to the experiences children have before they are 10.
Exactly.
Their brain is still in formation. This is very important. That's why marriages are breaking in this country. And that's why police are accidentally killing, accidental discharges happening and all of that. And that's why we have societal problems. Politicians are doing what they do, stealing from the people. You get? That's why we have insurgency and crime everywhere.
True.
A man that does this is not fit to wear the police uniform.
At all.
Not at all.
So whatever the case might be,
not at all.
It should be dismissed.
Should be dismissed.
But in dismissing too, we should also have a remedial service, where we can rehabilitate people. Maybe you could probably do well by running a business or selling other things, but not the police force. Because if you can act this way, if you cannot control your anger.
No. You see, this person, I'm thinking, what sort of thing can he sell? Maybe he can be selling granite oil. Or maybe he can roll them, because the level of anger he exhibited here, what he needs is where he can just go and, vent out this anger. Maybe he can work as a fitness trainer, not training women, because he shouldn't, by this action, he should not be allowed to come close to women. He should be sectioned. He should not be allowed to come close to children. He should be allowed to go and work in a gym, those akbobis. Those bodybuilders that are like 10 times my size, that's people he should be training, maybe, so that when he gets this angry, and he looks at them, his senses will be inhibited back to normalcy.
Then there's no way being in the police force. Secondly, it just shows how the police force has deteriorated. So I was talking to a couple of my very close friends and partners. They said one of them finished, I think, Unilag in 1979. So they said he got a first car. And he went back to some of his friends that were 400 level, and they traveled around the country. As at 1979, 1980. And he said, when they were going, some police officers stopped them on the road and said, where are you people going? Do your parents know you've traveled this far? They said, no. And the police officers detained them and called their parents the next day. And we found your child so place. And they voted somebody to accompany them back to their parents.
Right.
That used to be the Nigerian police force, but the case is not the same. So it needs a holistic societal change.
Rufai, I think you're too old for this thing. Nigerian police now, he cares. He doesn't care where the child goes. Nigerian police can take bribe from a 12-year-old. Nigerian police looks at a child, 11 years old, using an iPhone, staying there with the father. The only thing A police officer in his 40s said to an 11-year-old boy that came down from America for Christmas was, boy, if you dey leave that iPhone where you dey use, you go give unto me. And the little boy looked at mommy and said, Mommy, what's the police officer saying? You know, all these American people, they twist their mouth before I go bite my own, we don't they chop up and buy anyhow, we no fit for now again. And the child cannot understand that the police officer, standing on the road is there begging for an 11-year-old to give him the phone when he leaves the country. That is a tragedy. It's not funny. There is no justification. That is an aberration that something like that would ever happen. And it happens, and nobody. And this wasn't a joke. He meant it. You now ask yourself, how are you going to? Sometimes the whole thing just gets so tired that you begin to ask yourself, what for? From the political angle, everybody just basically, almost going mad. For instance,
West Africa.
Now, look at this one. This is presidential election. These are people who are coming to contest for presidential election. Again, they've started all their yeye promise. Remember the one that told you that he is a general. He was going to lead from the front, not the behind. Well, to lead from the other room now is even problematic. But here again, you people, when I know they hear word, you have gone back to the old people's home to bring another one out to contest for election. Now suddenly, they are now promising you that if they win this election, they're going to pay for your WAEC, whatever.
Your children's West Africa examination fee is paid by us.
You see, West African examination fee will be paid by them. And that is why when they will do this thing, they will do you Ojoro again. You go and
West Africa examination fee is paid by us. Yes. So that no one, no matter how poor, is left behind. The symbol.
Anyway, it's not my call. It's not my call. You can do whatever you want. Now, some people are requesting that I should bring gospel music. Okoye said I should bring Buba Galadima and Dele Mamodu to this program. Actually, I was meant to bring Dele Mamodu this week, but I've been on transit. I traveled, so as a result of that, my engagement, actually tomorrow I was supposed to have Mr. Peter Obi as a guest, but that has now been rescheduled to the Sunday, the 29th. You can put that in your calendar, Sunday the 29th of January by 5:30 Nigerian time. It's going to be a 2 hours solid conversation. Nothing is hidden. Nothing. No question is off the table. Everything you can think of, be rest assured that Maazi Ezeoke would ask that question. Now, on Dele Mamodu, I will see how his time pounds out, and mine too. I will see if I can get Dele Mamodu next week and maybe add Buba Galadima. But I think it will be too hot in here. If I add Dele Mamodu and add Buba Galadima, maybe something the Ginger Media Studio can actually catch fire. All the amplifier here can actually start smoking, because you have Buba Galadima that if you get him, you will need to be applying some brake, because if you start running here, that man, he can be firing from all cylinders. So, having said that, now let's come down to something that I think that many of us didn't actually pay attention to. 2 days ago, many times I had personally condemned the army invasion of Afaruku in 2017. I said that was an invasion that was uncalled for. an invasion that was not necessary, an invasion that must and should be challenged in the court of law. And I am glad that eventually Barrister Aloysius Ejimako, whom initially scheduled to have a conversation on that date 2 days ago, but eventually network didn't allow, so we didn't come online. Now, because if you are in the southeast now, it's like a war zone. There is no network anywhere. I mean, you can't be calling people. People, numbers I save on my phone. Somebody in the other village, I'll be calling, they say, the number you're calling is not assigned to anyone. I'm like, I just spoke to that person again. I'm just basically clicking a redial, and you're telling me the number is not assigned to anybody. That is the funny place called country that we are. Now, having said that, people, if you now listen to this, what it means, I'd always believed in judicial and legal process, and I'm glad that this legal process was taken, that these rights were violated, the residence was invaded unlawfully. Now, the thing is, if in any way I do believe, because he was on bail, if at any point the judicial system considered that, yes, bail conditions were violated, you do not send in the army. The moment you bring army into civil space, for me, you've lost it. It is an aberration. You cannot imagine you are in the United Kingdom or America or even Ghana. You have a civil case and somebody will go and get in those that meant to, their job is to protect the territorial integrity of a nation. Now tell me, what is a civilian, hiding in a house that you now need the military to invade? So that military invasion, I'm glad that eventually 1 million naira was awarded by an Abia High Court, and this is what the lawyer said afterwards.
At least we don't get a judgment over this matter where happened since 2017, where the court don't talk am now. Say no be run away when Nnamdi Kanu run away from bail. That thing where they call say injure bail, na lie, na because military attack am. And because of that military attack, the court ordered that the federal government should pay him 1 billion and apologize to him. That's why we came here, and the court agreed with us. The only thing the court did not do is that he said he no get power to decide the thing what happened to Nnamdi Kanu for Kenya. So that one there aside. And the another thing where the court talk that is very important. Under Section 12 of the Federal High Court Act, Federal High Court judges.
Now, and this is where I want us to draw something from. You see, legal process, it took time. It took time. It happened in 2017. Judgment was gotten in 2022. You might not like it, but it sends a lot of message. It is a step in the right direction. It took 2017, 2022. It took 4 years plus for this judgment to be, given. Yes, I know the government can actually go to appeal. But for me and for many people who are observing, for the fact that this judgment has been entered, it means something. Now, take for instance, it brings me to something else, which is the sit at home. I hear argument, people say, you have to sit at home so that you get justice. Then I ask, how did sit at home get this 1 billion judgment? I want someone to explain to me. How did sit at home and its enforcement get this judgment? There are times you need to engage your brain. Now is a time to, it is a legal battle, you see, in this legal battle is getting interesting. If you look at the defense counsel and, if you look at the prosecution counsel and compare them to the defense team, it's like Nigeria playing football with which country serve that is like a street? I don't know. Without insulting any country, I know many people watch me, but Nigeria is like Nigeria playing with Zimbabwe. You can not only beat them, you have to flog them. So, but on a serious note, now I have issues, and that's why I'm speaking up. I have issues that on Monday, our mothers, fathers, sisters were not allowed to come out. On Tuesday, they were not allowed to go out. On Wednesday, nobody was allowed to come out. Yesterday, Thursday, nobody was allowed. I think that is a clear definition of insanity. That is, for me, pure madness. And it is a madness taken too far that I am telling us and I am begging us that this madness must stop. Because if it doesn't, we may get to a point when you are pushing Igbo to the wall that if they turn, the outcome might not be palatable for everybody. We are going to see Igbo revolt. You cannot keep people indoors 4 days for something that does not make sense. Yes, I say it and I repeat it. Does not make sense. 4 days. You're telling people to stay at home, to sit at home. There are people, you have bricklayers, you have Okada riders, you have Keke riders. It is only when they operate that they can make some money and go home with a portion of that money and buy food for their children. Now you ask people to sit at home for 4 days. How are they going to feed their family? And the worst one for me personally is the argument that it is only when you sit at home that the government will now know that you are angry. I think that is insanity. That is here. You know what? You cannot, I liken it to, you go to your bedroom, you see a very big mirror there. You stand in front of the mirror. You look at yourself. You start slapping yourself. Stop slapping yourself. Slaps. After slapping yourself, you're bleeding. You go out and you say, yes, I have shown my enemy. Yes, my enemy has seen it. Delusion, because it amounts to nothing. The person you want to hurt, you are not hurting. They don't even care. Go to Asaba. On the 10th, here, I was here in this village on the 10th. 11th is on a Monday. People who were living on the 11th, who were supposed to ordinarily leave on the 11th, everybody left. Many people left the southeast on the 10th. Why? Because they wanted to avoid sit-at-home. People who left this village, in my village here in Anambra, who left around 5:30, because I had 2 people going to Lagos that morning. They left as early as 5:30. We bid them farewell. Normally, as of the time they left, on a very good day, by 10:30, they should be approaching, or they should be in Ojodubega. But as of 10:30 that same morning, they have not crossed the Niger Bridge. Why? Because everybody came out. All the traffic that was supposed to move Monday, Tuesday, everybody came out. Everybody want to run away. No, you are going to destroy the Southeast. You are destroying the Southeast. Those that you think you're protecting, you are destroying. These things must be said. If people are not speaking up because they are afraid, people don't listen. We cannot die twice. What is the essence of life if truth cannot be said to ourselves? So at the end of the day, the reason why I'm showing us this video of 1 billion won against a court case, a legal process. These things are marathon, they are not sprint. You can't just, yes, police abuse, just like this one now, the video we saw before in Edo, police abuse constituted authority. If you have evidence, you present evidence. It might take time, but at least sanctions and actions are being taken. But hey, police abuse, you go on rampage, it escalates, more lives are lost. So in this case, I think whoever is behind this enforcement, I can tell you that the people has had it up to here. It is no longer funny. The people have had it up to here. It is no longer funny. Whoever is enforcing it, please stop. Allow people to go around, go for their business, do whatever they want to do. Let the legal minds go to court, argue this case. They are likely and they will win this case. The way you can see the one in Abia State, it has been won. It is a question of if the federal government is going to pay the 1 billion naira or not. After all, Iboho was awarded 20 billion. I don't think that has been paid, but at least it makes, just like when late Gani was alive, one of the reasons Gani normally used to go to court is he said that he wants to set precedents so that let this be interpreted in law. Let the law say who is right or who is wrong. So it becomes a reference for tomorrow in another case. People, on that one, I rest my case. If you think you have different opinion, you want to be part of this conversation, you want to call so that people don't think I just said these things and no one, you're sitting down there listening to me, it goes unchallenged. No, challenge my idea. I don't know it all. But what I have said is that what I know and what I have seen, the damages that I have seen, I'm only talking about the Sunday. What about flights leaves Enugu what's it called, on Tuesdays? What about those that are supposed to fly on Tuesdays? What did they do? They could not get out to go and do their COVID test. I know many people. One Reverend Father called me from Enugu that he also missed their flight. So honestly, the whole thing it doesn't make sense. Sorry, but it doesn't make sense. If you think it makes sense, if you think there is any reason why this should be done, please kindly call me on the number on the number on the screen, plus 234-708-004-2206. Call me. Let's argue about these things. I believe personally that they sit at home, and if the enforcement is even the one that is even more crazier. You cannot say you're fighting for a people. You go and destroy the wares of our mothers. What is the difference between that and the bandits and the way they destroy things? That is nothing but, I call it local banditry. That is what it is. Because if we sugarcoat all these things, it's going to hurt us in the long run. There is no need to sugarcoat them. Look at it. Now, tell me how. Listen, this is where I don't bloody care who they are. I say it again. I don't bloody care who they are, but whoever they are, they must stop. You cannot go to the market of our mothers who came out on Tuesday. You went there, destroyed these things. Yet, the tomatoes you have destroyed there, you go home, you want to eat food made with tomato. You might be young now in your 20s, saying these things, it's now or that, it's now or that. Many people, many of us, we've been there. Nobody today, nyashi day for back. All people are saying is, calm down. Do not destroy. Like I'll conclude with this. In Things Fall Apart, Okonkwo was told, do not bear hand in killing that child that calls you father. But here, we are not only enabling, but we are actively participating in killing that child, our parents, the ones that have, put their sweat to get the little that they've got. We just go in overzealousness, come into a market, we shoot them, they run away, throw their potatoes, you know, we just destroy the things like this, and that's it. And then we go home happy. Now, after doing this, is your leader out? For me, this is nothing but absolute immorality. That is for me. That is for me. Because, I am barefooted here, and the only thing I would say, even if you bear me witness, that on today, being the Friday, 20, 21st of January 2022, this is my engine. I said in this case, bear with me witness, and see me, I said, and I said, and the two, uh, uh, because not time I go laugh like very Gaga, on a serious note. I don't know how to explain. Like we always say, Obama Madama told you guys, man, Muhammad, you guys, and not only tell us that I don't think this makes sense. It's hurting us. We are hurting our brothers and our sisters, our daughters, our moms, our fathers. This has to stop. This has to stop. I think my mic was muffled before, maybe because of my internet connection. I don't know. But be that as it may. Dr. Benjamin says, as some of you don't want to, Dr. Benjamin says, it is funny most of you think that IPOB is the only group seeking for our collective freedom. It is equally funny that some call the enforcement IPOB members. You see, I think guilty conscience is what Dr. Benjamin, with all due respect, I think is guilty conscience that is worrying you now. Obviously, if you have been listening without tuning to any other place, I consistently said whoever that is enforcing it, because I do know that there are various groups. I care less which of the groups. But what I'm saying is whoever behind the enforcement must stop. Ndibo, Ndibo are about to turn their back. Whoever, I cannot say this enough, is behind it. Stop. If you want to take responsibility on it, it's up to you. But I think it's also silly. I must say, it's also silly that we will now begin to say, oh, yeah, DSS are the ones doing this. DSS. Sometimes let's just listen to ourselves. It sounds absolutely silly that in this time and age, where is DSS doing it? DSS. Yet we are the ones now supporting DSS to do it. Come on, let's engage our brains, people. Anyway, people, on that note, that's my Friday hangout, and I wouldn't want this to go more than 1 hour. As I said, I would want us to, but, 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 I would want us to stop this. We cannot destroy the Southeast. If this continues, I know businesses that are in the verge, at least 2 companies. One employs about 102 people moving to Delta. That's 102 people. Either you move to Asaba or you lost your job. That's not good. Others are considering moving. One is to Akwa Ibom, and the other one also is to, I think, is Port Harcourt. This cannot be good. Those buying goods are now finding alternative markets. By the time this madness settles down, you may find out that the little akulueuno we've been preaching for years, that the little you have, we've destroyed them with our hands. And the enemy will be sitting down laughing at us. I thought these people said they are smart. I thought they said they are adopted people. They are everywhere. But look at how silly they are. Can you alone need this? On that note, thank you very much. But again, many of you who are saying freedom is not cheap, please, it is hypocritical that you be in London, be in Germany, be in Denmark, and telling us here that we shouldn't go to work, we shouldn't go to businesses. Whereas on Monday you go to work. What manner of hypocrisy is that? You say, oh, you must find it and to freedom. It is stupid. Stupidity. I don't know how else to say it because anything that you're doing that does not add value is stupid. It's not adding total nuisance. That's what it is. I don't know. Probably it's I think I've spoken enough on this, and I'll leave it to us. He who has ears, let him hear. I will say, Ndoke, use your tongue to count your teeth. On that note, I am still Maazi Ezeoke. Join me next week. I will be having interesting guests on this platform. It is political season, but there are two schools of thoughts. One say there shouldn't be any election come 2023. The other says there should be election, and there are those in the middle saying, well, before the election, let us restructure this nation. Everyone, those that say there should be no election, are coming on this platform to speak. Those that say, well, there is going to be an election, but these are the conditions, they are coming here to speak. This platform is a convergence of various opinions to come and discuss. We do nothing else by using arguments to win people over, not by force. Use persuasive argument with reason. Again, this weekend, my video of my visit to Okpoko. Remember, the reason why I went to Okpoko was because during the debate, Professor Chukwuma Charles Soludo, in his closing submission, said, if he is sworn in, he's going to start his governance from Okpoko. I only gone to Okpoko to tell Professor Chukwuma Soludo, this is how Okpoko looks. So, January 2022. January 2023, Maazi Ezeoke will come again and go back to the same Okpoko, the same street, and say, this is how it was, and you told us 1 year later, this is how it is. For me, it is nothing but just to hold government to account. In the same vein, I also, same day I went to Okpoko, I went to the second Niger Bridge, and I saw myself the 10 kilometers, 5 kilometers each way. The second Niger Bridge, I didn't know that it crossed towards, I don't know, many of you know where Power Mike, Atami Road, cross towards Iyowa, cross towards Oboko, where they have the Sakamori Gota, and busted out somewhere after the Oba Meteorological Training Institution. And there you have a big, massive interchange. And the other side is definitely a server. Watch out on my video that's going to come out. Great content. So you're going to see this is not, propaganda. You know what I do here to deflect propaganda. I go to site, no prejudice. If it's true, I show you. If it's not, I will show you. But not like Abia State that will tell you, Onye Jukwu he fly over. In Abia State, they will tell you that you don't need flyover because everybody in Abia State thinks those governing Abia State are
our economic is doing like this. It's doing
like our economy. It's behaving like this. It's behaving like this. But at the end of the day, what can we do? We can only have enough.
All right.
Have you voted?
I'm voted, yeah.
Okay, so
I'm happiness, I'm voted, yeah.
tell me your feeling after voting today.
Yeah, after voting, I'm feeling okay. What I want, I get it on the result. I'm getting the party I want is the one going on. Thank you for that.
What are you expecting from these people you voted?
I'm voted, they can do what you want, and then when they want, what they want, inshallah, we're happiness more, isn't it?
Inshallah, we are happy. And on the note of happiness, I want you to go taking whatever that is taking to you, and continue going downstairs and go. I am to proudly supported one unapologetic ask my brother because
How many times would they tell you before you know that Nigeria is not for you? Ah! Now they never leave you. They have left you behind. Photo, not be juju be that. Sorry, oh. May God not allow them, make them kill you. 70 years old man. Oh. Now mumu na too much. You be mumu. You think say they wise. You are a mumu man.
You will be a past participant. Yeah. Hey! Ebu agomia. One day we go here. Say yesterday you are a past. So very soon you shall be past. Party. One day, say tickle.